Okay. I think it's already 11 a.m. We'll wait for a couple more of your friends to join. For group 4, member of group 4, are you here already?
Yes, I'm here with Alif.
Okay. Okay. So as usual, the first session will be about the Q&A. Hopefully, all of your friends already watched the video presentation on YouTube. Okay, so for the first 30 minutes, I will give the chance for every group to ask at least one question, and then I will give you the chance to answer the question, and then I will give a concluding remark at the end of the Q&A session, and then we move on to the next session. Okay. Okay. So I think I will ask for the participant here from group 1. Group 1, is there any question that you like to ask to group 4?
Sir, I'd like to ask from group 1.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not quite sure on how to differentiate between moderator and mediating variables. Can you give more examples on that?
Okay. Group 4, do you want to answer directly, or do you want to discuss first?
We'll discuss it first, sir.
Can we discuss for every questions that we get, sir?
Okay. Excuse me?
Can we discuss every time we get a question?
Yes. Okay. So I will collect the questions first, and then you can discuss the question afterwards. I think it's fair. For group 2, do you have question that you like to ask group 4? Group 2? If not, group 3? Group 3? No one yet. Group 5? Okay. Group 5. Group 6? Group 7? Group 8? No question? Okay, I think I'll wait for group 4 to answer the first question. Okay, so for the other group, the other members, for the other students, you've already clear with the presentation. There's no question whatsoever. Wow. Just wait for. Okay.
So mediating variable is explain the relation between the independent and dependencer. So it as a bridging relation. So it can be like positive or negative correlation between the dependent and independent.
Okay.
And about a moderator, it's a variable that affect what's the strength, the relation between those two mediator and those variable and independent and dependent.
Okay.
So moderators is basically like can be qualitative or quantitative.
Okay. You want to show like a slide share if you want to explain the difference between moderating and moderator. If you want to do a share screen, it's okay.
Wait, I'll find the proper explanation by text by showing my presentation.
Yes, that's should be better. Okay. You want to slide share? Okay.
Can you see my screen now, sir?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
So moderating variable is a bridging between the independent and mediating variable is like the additional I put it simple, like positive or negative correlation between independent and dependent. And moderating is more like can be qualitative or quantitative. For example, moderating at this range of age or within the this 5,000, for example, the respondents and so on. And mediating is more like is the independent variable correlates with the dependent variable. Is that a positive correlation or negative correlation?
I see. Okay. Group 1, is that clear?
Yes, thank you.
Really? I don't. Okay. Okay.
Actually, I asked for an example.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll clarify difference between mediating and moderating. I think this is an important differentiation. Why? Because you can please share your slide again, group 4. Okay. Yes. Okay. So this is an important differentiation. Why? Because a lot of students confuse between moderating and mediating. Okay, they start with the same letter perhaps, but they are totally different, and you have to you have to be able to differentiate between the two. Okay, for the mediating variable, this is actually what is called the bridging variable, the the intervening variable. So it explains, for example, there's already a theory that workforce diversity with a lot of difference in workforce background, gender differences, ethnical differences, perhaps social status, and so forth. So with diverse workforce background, it's so it increases the effectiveness, the performance of the organization. So we have the independent variable and we have the dependent variable. But the next question is, how does workforce diversity makes organization more effective? Okay, so in this case, the explanator, the how variable is the synergy, the creative synergy. By having a diverse workforce, then the company will have greater creative synergy. So in this case, the relationship is positive, and then by having a creative synergy, the performance increases. However, if the diversity fail to create creative synergy, then of course, workforce diversity does not increase effectiveness. That's the bridging. So without the bridge, without that step, then the main effect, the main the independent dependent variable becomes null, becomes irrelevant. So to have a mediating variable, okay, it states that either the independent variable influences the dependent variable fully through the mediating variable, which is fully mediated, fully mediated, or on the other hand, it can be that the independent variable influences the dependent variable both directly and indirectly through the mediating variable, which is partially mediated. So it's like a stepping stone. Can we go to the destination with or without going through the stepping stone? If we can, then it's partial mediation. So we can go directly. We don't have to go through creative synergy to get workforce diversity influencing effectiveness. But if it's fully mediated without creative synergy, there will be no influence between workforce diversity and effectiveness. So that's the mediating variable. So, and in the drawing, in the diagram, creative synergy is always in the middle between the independent and the dependent variable. Okay, sorry, can you go back? Can you go back? Yes. On the other hand, a moderating variable, in this case, managerial expertise, moderate or modify the influence. So in this case, managerial expertise moderates whether diversity creates synergy. Okay, if the manager have good expertise, it's more likely for the diversity to be converted into synergy. But without expertise, okay, so underline my word, without expertise, without the moderating variable, or with low level of the moderating variable, then the workforce diversity no longer influences, no longer creates creative synergy. So it modifies the relationship instead of bridging. So I think the key word here, mediate means bridge, moderate means modify. I think that's, write it down, because if that comes in your exam, okay, you need to be able to differentiate between the two types of variable clearly. And you need to also, in your proposal, if you want to propose a mediating or a moderating, please do not confuse between the two. Okay. Okay. I'll open another question. I think we still have let's see, we still have like 10 more minutes. Okay, any other question? From the other group? Okay, if there's no other question, that's fine. We'll move to the second session, which is the presentation by the other two group. Let me check. By group 1 and group 6 about their progress in the research in their proposal. Okay, now I will let group 1, if you want to share your screen. Group 1.
Sir, I'm trying to share my screen.
Okay. Okay. You may present your progress.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sharin. I'm from Group 1, which is RSE Consulting. And I will present my proposal about our own research topic. So our research topic is about the effectiveness of online customer service towards customer experience in retail platforms. Can you please scroll down?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, thank you. So our managerial problem will be the online retailers need to understand customers' needs and wants in their shopping experience in order to provide the most effective customer service experience. One way to gain this knowledge is to employ the concept of human factors. And thus, our research question will be, is the quality of online customer service positively associated with customer satisfaction in the online retail platforms? Okay, so these are our journals for reference. The main reference is about the title will be the post-purchase shipping and customer service experience in online shopping and their impact on customer satisfaction. This journal we obtained from Asia Pacific Journal of Marketing and Logistics, which is the Q2 of the reference. The second is the supplementary reference, which will cover about salesperson roles, are online retailers meeting customer expectations. These journals, we obtained this journal from International Journal of Retail and Distribution Management. This journal will cover the Q1 part. Okay. And now, okay.
So I think we'll just skip the literature review. Yeah. Okay, so for research design, we took the template or guideline from this source and we followed this guideline for the research proposal. So our research type will be in quantitative methods. Our data collection will be done mainly through primary resources, but we will be basing some supplementary information on secondary resources. And our research design will be correlational to see the relationship between the two variables in our hypothesis.
Okay, I'm going to explain about the sources we got. So the sources first is our target segment to study the university students and housewives who do most of their shopping through the online retail platforms. And for the second one, for each of both segments, we will take random sampling by spreading our survey to groups and communities consisting of these people. And the last, our data collection will be done online and will be ongoing for the next several months. So that's our sources.
Okay.
And then for research methods, we will use online questionnaires through platforms such as Google Forms. And then our variables. And actually, this was when I was still a bit confused between mediating and moderating. So correct us if we're wrong. So our independent variable is quality of customer service. Dependent variable is customer satisfaction. Our mediating variable is future purchase intention. And our moderating variable is, we have two, type of product and online retail platform.
Okay. Okay. I think here in this case you may be confused between dependent and mediating. Can you go to the model, please? To the model.
Sorry, sir. Oh, the model.
To your model. Yeah. Customer satisfaction. Okay, go back, go down. Okay, so okay, I think this is a bit awkward, a bit odd about the future purchase intention. It should be after customer satisfaction. So so for example, if you have a good quality, a high quality of customer service, okay, it will create customer satisfaction, okay, and then with satisfaction, it will increase future purchase intention. That's the order. So in this case, the customer satisfaction is the mediating variable, while future purchase intention is the dependent variable. I think that's you should note it down.
Okay.
Okay. For the moderating variable, the type of product and online retail platform. Do you have specific type of product and online retail platform that you want to target?
We haven't discussed up till that point, sir.
Okay. So for type of product, you can choose, for example, either fashion, electronics, or I don't know what's commonly purchased in online. So for example, books or
Yes.
games probably. Okay, those are types of product. You can select one. No, you can select at least two, because if you want to use moderating variable, if you want to compare between different type of product, you have to choose at least two different type of product.
Okay.
Okay. As for the online retail platform, do you have a specific platform you want to compare?
Yes, probably between Shopee and Tokopedia, because
Okay.
that's the highest.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So you have at least two product and two retail platform. Okay. You can proceed.
Well,
Okay, so I'm going to explain about the practicalities we designed. So the first is our survey will be conducted within a time span of 1 or 2 weeks. So we will have 1 or 2 weeks to conduct the survey we needed. And the second is we will gain access to our target sources through several platforms. The first is for university students. We will spread our surveys to line groups of campus, organizations, class groups, and etc. The second one is for housewives, and we will spread the surveys to WhatsApp groups of families, communities of housewives, our mother's friends groups, and etc.
Okay.
And the last is potential obstacles might include the respondents submitting information that is not truthful and therefore might be implied as irrelevant data.
Okay.
So that's our practical for the our proposal.
Okay. Okay. So okay, for research method, okay, there's a couple of points that you have to discuss. The first is how do you want to collect the data, and I think you've already make it clear that you're doing an online survey, right? Wait a second. I'll. Okay, so you're doing an online survey. So that's either a descriptive, that's probably descriptive design. You want to explain the pattern between the variables. Okay, next one is about the sampling. In this case, I can see the logic. Why do you want to choose university student and housewife? But you need to argue. You need to put a logic. Why do you choose university student and housewife? And why do you want to compare between university student and housewife? Is that comparable? Why not just housewife? Okay, if so, for example, if there's relevant data that highlights how the highest, the largest segment of online shopping is are housewives, and then you can target housewife. If about but if university students are not part of the main target for online shopping, and why include university students? So if there's no argument, if there's no background in selecting university student, then it becomes convenient sampling, which is not a good, not a rigorous step for sampling. So personally, I think you need to how do I say it? You need to explain why you choose university student and housewife. Okay, or if you want to choose one, either university student or housewife, you have to have a background. You have to have a for example, data from BPS or from I don't know, any source of data that state that this segment, this respondent characteristic is the most relevant, okay, or the most interesting. So for example, you want to know, okay, university student, that's okay, that is under lockdown, for example, under lockdown, or university student that has specific characteristic, okay, that makes it interesting to study. So make it part of a context, like there's a pandemic and there's difficulties in shopping offline, and then a lot of the grocery and a lot of the shopping goes online. So that's the argument. As long as you have the argument, I'm fine. But without the argument, that becomes convenient sampling. And I think in this case, it's better for you to choose one, either university student with enough background, or housewife with their own background. So combining the two doesn't make sense. In my perspective, combining the two doesn't make sense.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, the second one, okay, for the second one, you state that you will take a random sampling. Okay, I have to tell you that I don't think it's possible for you to do random sampling. Why? Because in order to do random sampling, you have to have a sampling frame, which is a list of the total population. So if you have, for example, if you have a list of the total of the entire population of university student in Jakarta, for example, then you can do random sampling. If not, you cannot do random sampling. So in that case, I think there will be a session on sampling specifically. But for this research, you cannot do random sampling, but you can do a non-probabilistic sampling with a certain degree of rigor. For example, with quota sampling or snowball sampling, that is fine. So you have to be specific on the characteristic. For example, housewife who've already purchased or shop online at least once a week, or once in 2 weeks, and that's the certain range of sample. Okay, I think that's all from me. And the next one that you need to discuss after this is the measurement. You've already got the variable, then you have to go through the measurement, the statement to get to create the questionnaire. So I think there's no problem with the variables. You've got the variable, the right variables. Now the next problem is to adapt the question to your research context. So most likely you can go through a journal article, identify a relevant questionnaire, and then adapt those questions into your research context. Okay. Okay. I think that's all for group 1. Okay. The next
Thank
one.
You, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Next is group 6.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Group 6. Do you want to share your screen?
Yes, sir. Wait.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so good afternoon, Pak Imam and friends. We're from group 6 and we're going to be presenting about our progress in research design for final paper. Next. So our research topic is the roles of brand attachment and customer trust in Traveloka. And our research question is, do brand attachment and customer trust effectively impact Traveloka's brand loyalty and customer engagement? Next. Our research type is using quantitative methods, and it is a correlational research, as we're trying to know the correlation, and the sources are from the data collected from primary sources, which are through surveys, and hypothetical theories will be based on secondary sources. While our research methods will be data collections through surveys using questionnaires to Traveloka customers.
Okay.
So for the theories will be related to the area of our research. So first is about customer engagement. So customer engagement is the interaction between an external consumer and an organization through various online or offline channels. Online customers engagement is qualitatively different from offline engagement, as the nature of the customer's interaction with the brand, company, and other customers differ on the internet. So discussion forums or blogs, for example, are spaces where people can communicate and socialize in ways that cannot be replicated by any offline interactive medium. And brand loyalty is the tendency of consumers to continuously purchase one brand's products over another. So companies with strong brand loyalty will see its customers repeatedly buy its product or services regardless of changes in price or convenience. Next. Next is brand attachment. So brand attachment is the emotional connection between humans and brand. Brand attachment goes deeper than brand loyalty and have more influence to the customers. The reasons why people can be attached to brands are due to the affection, passion, and connection within the brand. So the advantage of brand attachment is that consumers will with strong brand attachment can influence others so that others can buy the products as well. So these fans or followers of the brand are not only becoming fans or followers to stay, but they are also bringing their friends along, increasing the customer base for the company. Next. Last is the customer trust. So customer trust is the reciprocal behavior to what they receive. Gaining customers' trust is important not only to make them loyal and come back, but also so they insist their friends to do business with the brand as well. Next. So for the concept, for concept, customer engagement has been recognized as an essential determinant of brand loyalty. So based on the research from the journal, it showed that 298 respondents revealed that customer engagement had no influence to brand loyalty, but both brand attachment and customer trust fully mediated the influence of customer engagement on brand loyalty. Yet, this topic lacks in examination, especially for the field of tourism social media, like for our group research is for Traveloka, which is why our group were interested to analyze this problem using quantitative correlation type of research design. Next. And for the dimensions, first is the purpose of study. We choose explanation because we want to explore the answer, not just describing the answer, whether our hypotheses are true or false, and the reasons to those answer as well. So we choose explanation rather than descriptive purpose of study. And for the research type, we choose ideographic explanation because we hope to fully understand the whole case instead of partial part of the case. The third is the use of research is applied research. So from this research, we hope to solve an environmental issue, which was the brand engagement, customer loyalty with the tourism social media. And last but not least is the time dimension. For this research is cross-sectional because we use this type because it's much more simple and less costly. Next.
I will be explaining about the variable from our journal. So it has 4 variables. The first one is brand attachment, brand loyalty, customer engagement, as well as customer trust. So the indicator of the variables for the brand attachment, the indicator is how often the customer think about the tourism site, naturally and instantly. And then for the brand loyalty, how much or how often the customer recommend the tourism site to other people. And then for the customer engagement, how active is the person or the member in participating in the tourism discussion site. And for the customer trust is how confident the customer is towards the product and services of the tourism site. And the types of variables, so here there are 4 variables, as I said before. For the dependent variable is the brand loyalty. It's the one that is affected by the other variables. And for the independent is the customer engagement. And for the mediating variables is the brand attachment and customer trust, as it is it functions as the bridge of the dependent and the independent variables.
Okay, so lastly, I'm going to explain about the theoretical framework and hypothesis development of the journal we are analyzing. So we can see the diagram that my friend has also already explained about the variables. We have 4 variables here, and we want to know the relationship, the connection between each variables. So we develop it into 3 hypotheses. The first one is whether customer engagement is affecting brand loyalty. Thus, we have our first hypothesis, which is engaged customers are loyal to the tourism and social media brands. In our case, we're going to analyze about whether engaged customers of Traveloka are loyal to Traveloka. And then our second hypothesis and our second and third hypothesis are talking about our mediating variables, which are the brand attachment and customer trust. So we want to know whether brand attachment and customer trust really are the bridges of customer engagement and brand loyalty. Hence, we have our second hypothesis, which is brand attachment is mediating customer engagement and brand loyalty. And then we have our third hypothesis, which is customer trust is mediating the association between customer engagement and brand loyalty. That's it for our presentation.
Okay.
Do you have any questions, sir and friends?
Okay. Can you go back to the question, please? The measurement. Okay. Oh, no. The next one. No, after this, one more slide. Okay. Okay. So does this mean that brand attachment is measured by indicator A, brand loyalty by indicator B, and so forth?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So it's rare. It's very rare for complex variable like attachment, loyalty, engagement to be measured by only a single item. Okay, so first of all, I think your design, your research design already fits the purpose. That's good. You're doing online survey. You want to do you want to explain the relationship between variable. That's completely fine. But for okay, so but I have two questions that I need to that you need to explain. The first one is about the sampling. How do you want to who do you want to survey? Okay, who do you want to survey? And for this one, how do you want to ask the question? So for the variable, okay, you need to have a reference. For example, for brand attachment, you can use the question from a journal, and I'm sure the question will be at least 3 or 4 questions. So there might be more question, more than 4 questions to measure brand attachment, for example. So I think you need to work the indicators again, okay, because this is perhaps a start, yes, but you need to work. You need to find journal article that measures brand attachment, brand loyalty, brand engagement, not necessarily in one journal. You can get brand attachment from one journal, brand loyalty from another journal. That's fine. So you can combine references for the measurement, okay, for measuring brand attachment, loyalty, engagement, and trust. But you cannot develop it by yourself, and you cannot use single item to measure the variable. Okay. As for the survey of the sample, do you have a sampling method or sampling criteria you want to use?
As for now, we're still debating between targeting Traveloka customers only and like tourists in general who uses social media tourism in general.
Okay.
Yes.
Because your variable is brand loyalty, to be loyal, you have to be a user. So if you sample a non-user, they'll obviously be non-loyal because they haven't used Traveloka before. However, if you sample past user of Traveloka, those who have made a purchase or at least browse the Traveloka browser, use the website, then you can ask them whether they're loyal or not. Okay, so for the sample, for the respondent, your study must collect the data from past user of Traveloka. If not, then the measure for brand loyalty will be biased, because we don't know whether, for example, someone is a past user of Traveloka but no longer loyal because they are dissatisfied with the website, or someone who's never even used Traveloka. So obviously he or she will never be loyal because he or she never uses Traveloka at all. Okay. So
Right.
for the sample, you need to be specific for the characteristic. It needs to be past user. However, you can decide on the time range. For example, tourists who have used Traveloka in the last 1 year, in the last 3 years, for example, so that you can modify the range, for example, because the longer the time span, okay, which means you have more, you have greater pool for sample, but then you will have a mixed response, because for example, if someone have used the Traveloka in the last like 3 years, he or she might no longer remember or no longer be able to evaluate the current experience of Traveloka. So I think in this case, don't put the range too long. I think 1 year or 1 year is long enough. So for example, people who have used Traveloka in the last 1 year. Okay.
Noted. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay. I think that is all. Thank you very much. Please give applause to group 1 and group 6. Okay. Now I'm going to move on to the next session, which is the breakout session. But before that, I'd like to perhaps I'd like to go through a couple of the material. Okay, so before we go to the breakout session, I'll go to briefly to the materials for today, and perhaps highlight the important bits that you need to know before you discuss about research design. Okay, I'll skip this. Okay, I'll skip. Okay, so this is the first differentiation between exploratory and formal study. Okay, in this case, okay, if your phenomenon, if your research question is something that is relatively unknown, a new phenomenon, then you need to use exploratory study, which is qualitative. Okay, so in order to use formal study like the other two group, like online survey, in order for you to do online survey, you need to have a reference. You need to have something that's already been researched. You have to have a theoretical background. However, if your phenomenon, if your research problem is something that's completely new, then you cannot use formal study. You have to use exploratory study, which is qualitative. And in this case, for your proposal, I'm not recommending you to study something that is completely new. So that's something that you need to discuss. So focus on formal study that has precise procedure, begins with hypothesis, and answers this question. So it's more, I think it's more linear compared with exploratory study. Okay, and it should be statistical study. So in this case, the sample size needs to be sufficient. Okay, so for a case study, it's also qualitative. You have a small sample size, but you have a greater depth. But for survey, for example, I think there's a minimum number of questionnaire based on the number of items. So for example, if you have like 20 question in your questionnaire, then you have to have at least 100 respondents. And I think with online survey, it's quite achievable to collect at least 100 respondents within a week or two. So hopefully that's the expectation. Okay, I'll skip this. Okay, the next research design is causal study, which is experiment. Okay, and this is also something that's you need to know. Okay, students have used experiment for their bachelor thesis. That's fine, but for this assignment, for this course assignment, don't use experiment because it's very rigorous. So I think it's best to focus on the ex post facto, which is like a snapshot. You want to know what's current without manipulating any independent variable. So in this case, your research should focus on testing the hypothesis using natural data, using data that's unmanipulated. On the other hand, for experiment, you will have to manipulate the independent variable and then measure the dependent variable, which is much more complicated than a simple online survey. Okay, I think I can skip this. Okay, so for the methods of data collection, okay, as an online survey is obviously a communication study, so it's not a monitoring. If you use monitoring, you can, for example, observe social media, observe collect secondary data. Those are monitoring studies. But for your assignment specifically, I think it's easier for you to use online survey, and then that's considered a communication study because you have to communicate. And in a communication study, how you communicate is very important. So the measurement is like everything. So the two main part in an online survey, one is measurement, the second one is sampling. If you mess one of them, you mess the entire research. So you have to make sure you have a good sampling. You know the respondent characteristic. You collect the data based on that characteristic with a good measurement, with a good questionnaire. If you meet both criteria, you have a good sample and you use good measurement, then everything will be all good. That's for survey. Time dimension, yes, cross-sectional. For longitudinal, it will take much more time, which you don't have in this case. So don't use longitudinal. Okay, and in this case, because you're doing online survey, most likely you're doing a field condition. So there's no lab condition and probably no simulation. Okay, I think I'll skip this. I'll skip this. I'll skip this. I'll skip this. Skip this. Okay. No, okay. I think that is all. So for your breakout session, I will now give you at least, I think, 30 minutes or more to finalize your research question. If your group haven't finalized your research question, decide on your group's research design, in this case, I strongly suggest you use the online survey. And then you need to discuss the 3 points: the data collection, the respondent and sampling. Who will be your respondent? How are you going to recruit them? And then the next one is the measurement, which you need to find from a literature. Okay. For these 3 points, is there any question before I start the breakout session?
Sir.
Okay.
Sorry. I just moved to this class because of the conflict in my schedule, sir. I don't have any group yet, sir.
I see. Oh, wait a second. You don't have any group yet?
Yes,
What's
I
your...
just moved to this class.
Okay, I see. Okay, do you have anyone you know here?
Yes, sir.
Do you know who? Do you want to, if okay, wait a second. I'll go through wait a second. I'll I'll go to this one. Okay. Okay, I'll give you the option. Choose either one that already only have 3 members. Which one do you want to choose?
Can I join group 4, sir?
Group 4. Are you okay with Ahmad Farhan to join your group? Group 4?
Yeah, it's okay, sir.
Okay, so Ahmad Farhan, you are now in group 4, okay?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, so, okay, I will now organize the breakout session. Wait a second. And please discuss the 3 point. Wait a second. Breakout session. I have 8 room. Okay, I'll now start classifying. Ahmad Farhan is group 4. Alif is group 4. I think okay, Sabrina Haya is group 2. It's group 2. Novalia is also from group 2. Let me classify first. Santira is also group 2. Santira. Oh, okay. Muhammad Rafid is group 3. Muhammad Rafid Edi Putra. Okay. I think Muhammad Rafid Edi Putra. Sherin group 1. Gerald group 8. Muhammad group 4. Alhamdulillah. Oh, Rahul Agraria. Agraria. Okay. Zavira group 7. Devita group 6. Edwina group 2. Edwina. Alisa, I think. Okay. Group 6. Okay. 7 King group 5. Okay. Emerald group 1. Okay. For the group 4. Fadli group 4. Daryl group 8. Daryl group 8. Okay. Ilham group 3. Ilham group 3. Theodore group 7. Sabrina group 6. Sabrina Salsabila group 6. Lastasia group okay. Okay. Okay, let me check. Should be fine. Bagus Charma, which group are you? I think I'll check with here. Group 1's okay, group 2 okay, group 3 is Ilham, Farid okay, group 4 is okay, group 5 Sharma and Winarif okay, group 7 Terbira, Theodore, Lestasha okay, last but not least there Ahmad Gerald and okay. Fadila, which group are you?
6, sir.
Okay, group 6. Okay, group 6. Okay, I think that's all. Okay, I hope everyone's already in their own group. I will open all rooms. Please join the breakout room. Guys.
Hello, sir.
Okay. So do you have what's the progress of your discussion? You have already already come up with the research design?
So for the variables that you commented,
okay,
we decided to not use mediating variable. Is that okay?
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
So
Okay,
if you
yeah,
want to
because
use only
only customer satisfaction as the end design. I mean the end variable.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fine. But you still want to use the moderating?
I think so.
Okay, so that's fine. So one independent variable, one dependent variable, and two moderating variable, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's fine. Okay. Do you have any question that you'd like to ask?
About the moderating variable, what do you recommend, sir? Is it okay for you to?
Okay, I think usually there are different types of product, right? For example, you can go with someone with something that's high in involvement, something that's like fashion, it's considered high involvement. On the other hand, you can contrast it with something with low involvement, something that's you don't think a lot about purchasing it. Like, I don't know, what's the what's the like grocery, I think, or tools. I think simple tools. So it doesn't matter what type of product, as long as you want to contrast something with your choice. For example, something that's high involvement versus something that's low involvement, or something that is hedonic versus utilitarian. Okay, do you understand? Or like product versus services, for example. Okay, so your moderating variable should contrast between the two. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I'll move to the other room.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Sabrina, which group are you? Sabrina?
I'm sorry, sir. My connection was lost.
No worries. Which group are you?
Group 2, sir.
Okay, I'll put you to group 2. Okay, you can join group 2. Okay, guys.
Hello, sir.
Okay, so can you tell me the conclusion of the discussion?
Is it okay if we screen share what we have?
Yes, you can screen share it.
So this is our research question.
Okay.
Consists
One quick point. Okay, for your research question, do not confuse research question with hypothesis. So I think this is you can merge, you can summarize this research question into perhaps 2 or 3 questions. Okay, so for the research question, it doesn't have to be specific for each hypothesis. Okay, but it can be specific to the dependent variable. What is the dependent variable? Okay. Oh, you're using BTS. I remember yes, the research last week. Okay.
But Kak Arya said that we have to determine the research question based on the main reference, and our reference consists of 10 hypotheses.
Yeah. So that's the 10 hypotheses. That's correct. You have 10 hypotheses, but I think perhaps there's a miscommunication here. So the research question is something that is broad. Okay. For example, what factor influences customer imitation behavior, and then this question can be broken down into credibility, attractiveness, self-satisfaction, and so forth. So I think okay, there are perhaps multiple opinion. Okay, perhaps there are lecturer that wants, or researcher that wants the research question to be broken down to be very specific like this. But I think in my case, it's preferable for me to have a smaller number of research questions, but you still keep the 10 hypotheses, that's fine, but you derive the 10 hypotheses from a smaller number of research questions.
Okay.
So so I think you can focus on the dependent variable like attitude towards celebrity advertisement, purchase intention. I think imitation behavior. I think these two are I think there are 3 dependent variables here that I can think of. What influences customer imitation behavior, what influences attitude toward celebrity advertisement, and purchase intention.
Okay, so okay, sir.
Okay.
And for the data collection,
Yes.
we use the online survey.
Okay. Okay. Okay,
with
why 18 to 24?
Because
So I'm fine with 18 to 24, but why limit to 24? For example, are there no fans of BTS older than 24? For example.
Because we would like to give the survey to the students in OE, and I think the limit of age for learning here is until 24. Sir.
Okay, so for people with under 24, which generation is that? Generation Z, is that correct? Or
yeah,
I think millennials are older than 24, right? Millennials.
That's true.
So
yeah.
it's the generation after millennials.
Yes.
Okay, I think that's quite interesting. So you can put that as your part of your research context. So your studies on the generation, the what's the name? I forgot the generation after the millennials.
Z generation.
The Z generation. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay.
And this
the
is
measurement. Okay, that's fine. I think. Yeah. Okay. The measurements are okay, but you need to adapt it to your context, like Tokopedia and BTS. Okay, so be specific on the. Oh, one more thing. I think for your sample, you need to have someone that already watched the ad. Okay. So if the respondent haven't watched the ad, that they don't have attitude toward the ad because they haven't watched the ad. So have made at least one transaction on Tokopedia or those who have watched the ad. I think watch the ad.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any other question?
I think that's all, sir.
Okay, I'll move to the next room. If you have a question, you can raise your hand.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, group 3.
Halo, Pak.
Hello, sir.
Do you have
Yes, sir.
okay? Do you have question or do you have something that you want to ask me about your research design?
Oh ya Pak, untuk research design itu kayak gimana ya Pak ya? Bentukannya lebih tepat ya? Kayak...
Okay, so in the slide, I think I'll share you the slide in the.
Okay, Pak.
Okay. For this one, I think it should be already narrowed down to online survey. Okay, so all group, so you can eliminate a lot of research design by focusing on online survey. But then you have to decide on the data collection. How do you want to collect the data? Who do you want to survey? And then the measurement. So, and the measurement will also be discussed next week. So I think it's so for today. At least you need to discuss your preliminary measurement. So next week you need to finalize the measurement. Okay, so
okay, sir.
Have you decided on the research question? And
previously we have decided the research question, but kita baru aja konsul sama kakaknya lagi, ternyata dan artikel kita belum bisa dipakai, Pak. Jadi kemungkinan harus diganti gitu.
Okay, that's fine. You still have time, but you have to finalize within the week because by next week you're supposed to have at least the measurement. Okay. So
okay, sir.
So finalize the research question and the model, and go to the questionnaire for next week. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You have other question you'd like to ask?
Udah itu cukup aja sih. Itu
okay. Aja, okay, then I'll move on to the next group. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Masih Pak.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Okay. Do you have any question you'd like to ask about your research design?
Tadi apa, Fer?
Excuse me?
Enggak.
Okay. So have you finalized your research question?
Actually, we actually have the topic and the hypothesis and the main reference.
Okay.
For the topic, but since the beginning we're still not satisfied with our topic. Is there any chance that we can change our topic?
Okay, you can change the topic, but you have to work fast because next week you have to decide on the measurement by next week. Okay. Why do you want to change your topic?
Because we think it's too general. Like our topic is the effect of internet in the workplace.
I see.
We think the scope is too.
Okay, so you can look for specific, for example, like cyber loafing. I think the cyber loafing is specific misuse of internet on the workplace. If that's relevant to your case, or you can go to what's the word? So is that the direction you want to go, or it's not that direction?
That will be something that we are considering, but actually we are trying to change the place from workplace to something more smaller. But thank you for the additions.
Yeah.
Thank you for the
Okay. So you're focusing on HR, right? Human resources. So it's your respondent will be employees.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's reasonable. Okay. So decide on the research question and the model, and then hopefully next week we can discuss about the measurement.
But do you think it's too general for the topic, sir?
No, for cyberloafing is quite specific. If internet in the workplace, yes, it's too broad. You need to be specific. For example, what is the dependent variable? So internet is the independent variable, right? Internet use is the independent variable. So what is the dependent variable? Is it, for example, productivity or creativity? Does in high usage of internet on the workplace increase productivity, for example, or on the other hand, it can be the negative side of social media, for example, stress, thus accessing, just being connected, like work from home, for example, connected to the internet 24 hours. You're expected to answer the email or WhatsApp. Okay, does it contribute to burnout, to stress? That's also another direction. So internet is a very broad phenomenon. It can be positive, it can be negative. You need to focus on which direction you want to study. Is it the positive side or the negative side? And then decide the dependent variable.
Let's say if we are not able to find any journal about internet in school place, can we just make our topic the effect of internet, the negative effect of internet in workplace?
Okay. The negative effect of internet, that is fine, but you have to have a reference. So because it's not exploratory study, you need to have a journal as a reference, the research model, and I think there are a lot of, I think you can easily get a journal article on the negative side of internet and the workplace, or being wired, technology overload. I think there's a stream of research on work overload for technology workers. Those who've already be connected to the internet, but for that, I think the dependent variable is either job stress or turnover intention. I think that's the common common dependent variable for that. Okay, but you can consult with me or the assistant after this. If I can probably share a couple of journal articles that might be relevant to your study.
Okay, thank you so
Okay.
much, sir.
I'll move on to the other group.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
No problem.
It's not my fault, right? Okay. And I don't even know his face. What's the point of
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
Okay. Do you have question you'd like to ask about your research design?
We're planning to move again of the question because last time it's a bit too qualitative, sir.
Okay.
So now we're moving to like the importance of brand image for customer in purchasing Apple. So that's more focused, and also we can have that qualitative. I mean quantitative research.
Yeah. So I think so for qualitative, it will take more time. So I'm not recommending you to take qualitative at this stage. But if you want to do qualitative for your thesis, that's fine. But for this assignment, I think it's easier to just use online survey. But you can still use brand image and Apple as your subject for your research. But you need to have at least a theoretical framework to organize the for example, what's the dependent variable? Is it purchase intention? Is it EWOM, electronic word of mouth, or is it for example brand loyalty? Okay, those are relevant dependent variable for your topic.
I see. And then we would like to ask in terms of data collection, like how many respondents do you expect us to get?
Okay,
sir?
okay. I think for the respondent, it depends on the complexity of your model. Complex model require more respondent. Okay, but for a very simple model with only 3 variables, I think roughly 100 respondents should suffice.
Okay.
But that's totally dependent on the number of measurement, the number of item in your measurement. Usually 5 times the number of items. If you have 20 items, if you have 20 questions, then you need to have 100 respondents. If you have less than that, then you can use less than 100.
Oh, I mean, in terms of measurement, it's like the question you mean, yes, right? Just to clarify.
Yeah, the question. So, for example, if you have 3 variables and each variable have 5 questions, then you have 15 questions. For 15 questions, you need 70 of you need for 15 questions you need 75 respondents. For 15 questions, yeah, that's right. So if you have 15 questions, then you need 75 respondents. If you have 4 variables, each variable has 5 questions, then you have 20 questions, then you need 100 respondents. So that's the rule of thumb: 5 times the number of questions in your questionnaire. Okay. But if your research is on Apple, right?
Yes.
Okay, so does it have to be Apple user, current Apple user, or perhaps non-user but might be preferable, might have high preference toward Apple? Because some people might want to buy Apple but don't have the money and so forth. So it depends on your model actually. Do you want to study Apple user or those who have used Apple product before, or people in general, but it influenced which variable you can measure?
Right now we haven't thought of that far, but I think we might be thinking of people who are using Apple right now, or maybe like loyal Apple users, since they're like they have more information.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's good. That's good. You can go to current Apple user. Okay. Do you have other question?
Not yet.
Okay, I'll leave this room first. If you have any question, you can raise your hand. I'll go back to this room.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Raigi. Hello.
Halo sir, tadi aku ke disconnect sir.
Okay, no worries. Which group are you?
With Gerald sir.
Oh, with Gerald. Let me check.
Gerald Farhan.
Oh yeah, group 8.
Yeah. Sorry
Okay.
sir.
No worries, no worries.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Hello, group 6.
Hello, sir.
Okay. Do you have any question about the research design?
Actually, sir, ada kayak batasan harus berapa surveinya gitu nggak?
Okay.
Like in terms of survey.
Okay. So it depends on your model. Okay. Complex model require more respondent. Okay. So if you want to limit the number of sample, you also need to use a simple model. So for example, if you use 3 variables and each variable has 5 questions, then you have 15 questions, and that means you need to have 15 times 5, which means 75 respondents. If you have 3 variable and each variable has 5 items. Okay, so overall, I think I expect roughly around 100 respondents. I think, and with online survey, I think it's still feasible. But then it also depends on your respondent characteristic. If you limit the characteristic specifically, it will be harder for you to get 100. So it depends on your research design. So you have to be clear about who do you want to survey, and your expectation of getting them to fill out your survey.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so what is your research question?
Sorry, sir.
Our research question is, do brand attachment and customer trust effectively impact Traveloka's brand loyalty and customer engagement?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's quite simple. You can use okay. Yeah. Okay, so I think for Traveloka, I think it's probably quite easy to find someone who's already used Traveloka before. Okay, I think I think there's no problem with that.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Do you have other question? Okay, if not, I'll move on to other group, and I'll let you continue discussing your research design.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Hello. Hello. Alisa. Okay, Alisa.
Hello, sir.
Which group are you?
Group 2, sir.
Two.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, group 7.
Hi, sir.
Hi, sir.
Do you have any question you'd like to ask me about your research design?
Not yet, sir. We are currently still discussing our the research, like
Question.
like we have discussed that we're gonna do a research on how viral marketing in skincare,
I see. Okay.
but we haven't really have every list of the questions that we're gonna ask yet.
Okay. You have the variables, the dependent variables. Because, for example, in marketing, you have purchase intention, you have EWOM, electronic word of mouth, you have like brand loyalty, customer satisfaction. Those are the common common dependent variable. Okay, so
We were
like
I think we're gonna go with
word of mouth.
okay,
Yeah,
that's
the
good.
EWOM one that you said earlier.
Okay, so word of mouth, electronic word of mouth marketing for cosmetic. Is that right?
Yes.
Sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's quite a good subject. I think you can search on the literature on EWOM. I think there's a lot of literature on electronic word of mouth, and then try to find a model that fits your topic, your research context.
Yes.
Okay.
What we had in mind is like how like the usage of the K-pop star in skincare can increase word of mouth.
Yeah. Okay, so if you're using K-pop, okay, I think it means that you want to connect between brand endorser. So the K-pop member as the brand endorser of the cosmetic.
Yes.
Towards the EWOM. I think you need to search the literature. Is there any? I think there's already a couple of references that you can use to connect between the brand endorser and or characteristic of the brand endorser towards the EWOM. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have other question?
No, not yet.
Okay, I'll move on to the next group and I'll go back after this. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Hello, Group 8.
Hello, sir.
Okay. Have you discussed your research design?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any question you'd like to ask?
Wait. Tadi mana nih? Oh shit.
You have do you already have the research question yet?
We already have, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Do you want to screen share or something?
Wait, why is it not showing? Get out.
Ya.
Lu bisa screen share gak? Ini di gua nggak muncul.
Sabi. Yang mana? PPT?
Ya, yang PPT ya.
Oke. Benar. What's the name of the file?
Udah dapat, coba gue.
Oh, ini gue. Ini gue Sabin kan? Kalau lu mau.
Gue aja.
Oke.
Can you see the presentation?
Yeah. Okay. Link aja payment. Okay, that's good. So you're specific toward payment behavior.
Yes.
Okay. So it's adoption of cashless payment.
Cashless payment, yes.
Okay. Wait a second.
This
Okay.
is the
Do you have the respondent? Who do you want to survey?
we want to survey the customers of that use Link Aja specifically.
Okay. So people who have the Link Aja app in their mobile phone.
Yes, and hopefully we can get some information from the Link Aja itself, because I have a family member who is currently working there.
Okay. One question. So, intention to use, which means, so it's like people who have already downloaded the app. You want to know whether they have intention to use the app that they've already downloaded, or for those who have not downloaded the app, they want to download the app. Is that two separate dependent variable? I think that's two separate study. Which one do you want to use? Intention to use. Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, so for those who've already installed the app, you want to measure what makes them, what's influenced their intention to use the app. So it's not adoption, it's use. Is that right?
Oh, right, sir.
Yeah, because adoption means installing the app. Use means actually using the app for payment. I think that's two separate. I was confused between adoption and usage. So your respondent are people who've already adopted the app by installing, by downloading, but then you want to know whether what factors make them have intention to use the app. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I think okay. That's the variable. I think it's quite straightforward. Okay. Go back. Okay. Okay. So for the sampling, other than people who've already downloaded the app, is there any other characteristic?
Actually, when we're about discussing with the tutors there, we're about to think specifically, perhaps will be students there, but we haven't really make our decision towards the students.
Okay. Actually, if you want to use student, you have to have an argument why student is relevant for your study. If not, why limit to just student? You can survey everyone, or you can survey, for example, employees or so workers. You can. So I think limiting your study only on student will limit your study without getting any significant
benefit.
Why only student?
All right. Now, it is just something that we have discussed, but perhaps maybe we will not do that, sir, since it will harden us.
Yeah, so use other characteristic. For example, you can use, I think, age group. For example, certain age, above 18. Okay, you don't want minors. You don't want to survey minors below 14. And I think there's probably, for example, there's a study that focused that which age group is the most most likely to adopt the cashless payment. For example, 18 to 35. As long as you've got the data, you can use it. But if you don't have the data to limit the respondent, I don't recommend you to limit the respondent. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Do you have other question? Okay, if not, I'll leave the room, and you can. I think we'll close the session soon. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I'll leave the breakout room. Okay, guys, we're still waiting for the other student to return from the breakout room. Okay, we have 5 more seconds. Okay. Okay, so hopefully we've got fruitful discussion on your research design. Okay, at least we've already narrowed down the online survey as your preferred research method. And for the next one, for next week, you will have to finalize on your measurement. So a couple of you, some of the group I've talked about have already got the measurement, while those who haven't got the measurement needs to quickly finalize their research question, and then also prepare the measurement, the questionnaire for next week. For next week, let me share screen. For next week, the presenter will be group 7, while group 3 and group 5 will present the progress. So as usual, group 7, please prepare a video presentation so I can upload it on YouTube before the class. And I hope that all of you watch the video presentation before the class. And for next week, I want every group other than the presenter to prepare at least one question. So because next week group 7 will present, okay? So group 1 through group 6 and group 8 will prepare at least one question, just to show that appreciation toward the presenter. Okay, and if there's other question that you like to ask about the group assignment, especially the topic, the research question, you can ask me or the research assistant Kak Arya, and I will answer it through WhatsApp or Emas. Okay, is there any other question before I close today's session? Is there any question? Okay.
No, sir.
If there's no question, thank you very much for today's session. Hopefully, for next week, there will be more participation from the student, especially about the first I think first part of the session. Okay. As usual, I will upload this video on YouTube so you can watch it later. Thank you very much. See you next week. Goodbye.
Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.